hello and welcome to the Allplane Podcast, always with guests that are redefining the future of commercial aviation. And as usual, before I introduce today's guest, let me remind you that you can find all the previous episodes of this podcast as well as many other aviation stories on the Allplane website. That's Allplane.tv, Allplane.tv. Here we love inspiring entrepreneurial stories in aviation. So when I learned that a young company called JetClub was going to be the launch customer for the new eFlyer 800 all-electric aircraft, a new sleek aircraft being developed by aerospace, well, it immediately got me interested. As it turns out, JetClub is not just a standalone company, but a branch of a US-based executive aviation group called JetIt, which until now was operating exclusively another very interesting aircraft type, the Honda Jet. So I reached out to Vishal Hiremath, the co-founder of JetIt and JetClub, to learn more about this startup executive jet operator, about their fractional ownership model, and also about the reasons behind this very interesting fleet choice. But more than anything else, I really enjoyed the chance to listen to his interesting story of entrepreneurship and sheer passion for aviation. In our conversation, we talk about sustainability in executive aviation and why electric planes can be such a game changer for this segment of the industry. And last but not least, I apologize beforehand for the sound quality. Due to our changing schedules and different time zones, our chat took place over a mobile connection while on the road, so at times the voice breaks a little bit. Nevertheless, I hope the essence is clear enough. So, without further ado, let me welcome Vishal to the podcast. Hello, Vishal. How are you?
Very good, Mikhail. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
A pleasure. We are connecting today with North Carolina, where you are based, but you are actually the founder and the CEO of a company that spans two continents because you founded JetIt in the US and JetClub in Europe, which are both part of the same group. And you are in the field of executive aviation with an interesting model that we're going to talk about now. But first of all, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your background in aviation? Because you have a very long experience in this area.
Sure, yes. Thank you, Mikhail. So I founded JetIt and JetClub along with my co-founder and my very good friend that I've known for many years, Glenn Gonzales. And we both worked at Honda Aircraft Company, which, as you and most of your listeners would know, is the manufacturer of the Honda Jet, which is the best light jet in its class. And I was responsible for the international sales, and Glenn was responsible for Eastern Seaboard sales. And we were both working together in Honda, and before that, we both worked together at Gulfstream as well. So I was working at Gulfstream as a sales development manager for the international sales division at Gulfstream Aerospace. I was based in Savannah, Georgia, and I spent a lot of time traveling throughout the different regions overseas. And Glenn was in international sales, and we worked closely quite a bit because we used to do sales demonstration flights.
Sounds like an amazing job.
Yes, yeah. We were lucky. We worked in two great manufacturers, great companies, very good people, and it was a great job. I loved aviation all my life. I've wanted to be a pilot and wanted to fly, and I did get my pilot's license. So I always wanted to work with airplanes, and it was a great combination of meeting new and interesting people and working in aviation. So before that, I worked at Rockwell Collins, which is an avionics company, and I think it's now called Collins Aerospace. And I worked as an engineer in flight deck technology and cockpit technology. So I worked in some cutting edge research technologies like voice recognition and human machine interface and these kind of things. And it was very interesting to look out to what is coming. So that was kind of my professional background. And I also went to school. I did my master's in aviation technology and human factors, and partially some classes in aerospace engineering. And then before that, graduated electrical engineering. So my background has been kind of technical and sales.
You're an aviation man through and through.
I always wanted to fly and always wanted to be with airplanes. So when I got my pilot's license, I felt that I had achieved my dream. So it was a good time spent in aviation. And then, speaking about JetIt and JetClub, when we were working at Honda, people would ask us all the time that, look, I love this airplane and I would love to fly it, but I don't use it that much. So it's hard for me to justify buying a whole airplane and putting all that investment, paying for the fixed costs that come with owning an airplane. And it's a lot of money that goes into maintaining and operating an airplane. When you're not using it that much, it's hard to justify. So we kept getting that question over and over again. And a lot of people kept asking us, look, can you find us a partner? I want to share the airplane with somebody because I want to share the costs. And so we initially went to some current companies that do this model. And we said, hey, look, HondaJet is a great airplane. Why don't you operate? But a combination of the airplane being new and unknown at that time, and the fact that it didn't fit the business model, a lot of the big players in fractional ownership, we decided, look, we think it's a great airplane. And Glenn and I talked and we said, let's just do this ourselves. So that's how we launched the business, and we launched with one airplane. And now we have the largest HondaJet fleet in the world. We have 10 airplanes, and in the United States, we have the first one in Canada that's going into service shortly. And then we have one airplane that's operating in Europe, and we hope to grow the fleet in all three areas in the next few months.
So you developed a dual brand. You operate under the JetIt brand in North America, and in Europe, you launch JetClub. Are they two separate entities, or is just a brand, but you operate the same model in each continent?
So they are two separate entities, but we kind of operate them as sister companies. And the reason we did that was for a number of reasons. First of all, in the international market, now in Europe, we operate under a fractional model, but we also plan to expand further into Asia. And a lot of places in Asia, we may not be able to do the fractional ownership model just because of the regulatory environment. So we wanted to create a separate entity and a separate brand that we can tailor to our international market. So JetClub was a very simple, recognizable brand name that it could be a club of fractional owners or it could be a club of members. So we developed that brand, and then obviously we also established a separate entity because of the various different rules and regulations required in operating in different parts of the world. Mm-hmm. There was another aspect to also separating the brand, is because initially when we started JetIt, it's kind of a play as to, just jet it, right? Just take a jet and just go, just do it. And so it was a very clever brand name, but that doesn't translate into many of the international languages. Yeah. And so people in a lot of different languages were asking us, what does JetIt mean? Or they were saying things like Jet IT. So it was kind of like we decided, okay, we are anyway creating a separate entity. Let's create a separate brand, and then we operate as sister company. And the benefit of having sister companies is that if you're a member or a fractional owner in any one of the entities in a particular region, you're able to also fly on our fleet as with the owner benefits in a different country or a different region.
So if I'm a JetClub customer in Europe, I wish, I fly to the US commercial, and then I can use JetIt in the US inside the region.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Correct.
Cool. And tell me more about your business model. You operate the fractional ownership program. What is
yes, correct.
What's your differentiation point here compared to the very large operators in this space? Obviously, one of them is the jet that you operate, the HondaJet. But are there other differential features that you would highlight?
Yes, the biggest differential feature is we offer days instead of hours, because we believe in our philosophy, and based on our studies that we did, is that most people when they're flying within a region, entrepreneurs, business people, small and medium sized CEOs and directors, these entrepreneurs, they want to spend more quality time with their families and their friends, and they want to go out, do business, and come back home within a day. They don't want to waste time staying overnight, staying in hotels if they don't have to. right? So they can go to 2 different cities, 3 different cities, do their business, shake hands, finish their meetings, and come back. And so what we offer is, instead of hours, we don't want to limit people by hours. We offer days. So if you buy a share of an aircraft, you have a certain number of days that are available to you.
And you have the aircraft for the whole day?
If you want to use it for the whole day, you have it available for the whole day. So if you want to have an 8-hour itinerary, we will make the aircraft available to you. And what that does is, many clients choose to use that day. Some say, I don't need for the whole day, I'll just use for 2 hours, and that's fine too. So we leave it up to them how they want to use it. And on average, we have seen our customers use the airplane for anywhere from 1.5 to 2 hours each day, because they do a flight out and come back, or they just do a one-way flight.
And then that day, so if you use it on one day, that day is written off, let's say. It's not, you're not counting periods of 24 hours, but you say, like, I don't know, the 4th of August, I need the plane. Let's say you do a 2-hour flight, and that's one day that it's counted out of your allowance.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Right. Because we have to service multiple owners as well. So
or the opposite. Or you might use it, I don't know, you have a very busy schedule and you use it for eight different segments in a day, and that would be just one day.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. The only limitation is that we don't exceed our flight time duty limitation. So that's the limitation.
Yeah. And everything is included, pilots, everything with the membership.
Yes. We are a one-stop shop. It's a turnkey solution. So we have our AOC, and with our AOC, we hire the pilots, we oversee the maintenance, we have our camo, so we make sure that everything is taken care of. All the owner has to do is call up or email our dedicated concierge team that is available 24/7, and we do the rest.
Okay.
So it's aircraft ownership without the hassle of aircraft ownership.
And what's the typical fee structure? So if I wanted to become a member, I guess, would I pay an entry fee? Then is there an annual or monthly fee? And then is there an additional fee depending on the destinations you fly to?
Right. So for our fractional ownership, it's very simply put, you buy a share of an aircraft. So the Honda Jet retail price of a Honda Jet is about 6.3 million with all the options. You buy a particular share, that number is divided by how many shares you have, and that's what you pay to take ownership of a share of an aircraft. And then you get title to the aircraft with that amount of airplane that you have as equity. So think of it as a timeshare model, but with airplanes, and you take ownership of that part of the airplane. And then we also split all the fixed costs. So you have fixed costs like pilot salaries, insurance, hangar parking, maintenance, everything that's in the fixed costs. You also share that amongst the owners. So if there are 8 owners, then you divide it by 8, and that's what you're paying monthly.
Okay. Can you say again what's the retail price of a JetClub? Because the sound was breaking a little bit when you said.
Yeah, the Honda Jet costs $6.3 million.
Yeah.
So that's the total aircraft, and then based on what share you have, it's just divided by that.
Okay.
That amount of share. Yeah.
Okay, so the fraction you get depends on how many people are co-sharing that particular aircraft. And
Correct.
Okay, and what factors drive the number of people that share an aircraft? Is it the members bring their own people, or you have some mechanism to assign them in batches, or how does it work?
Oh, no. They don't have to bring any more other partners.
Okay.
We find the partners. We sell shares in the aircraft. So who you own the aircraft with, you may not even know most of the time, because we protect the privacy of every share owner. It's like owning your own airplane. So privacy is important. And that's actually more beneficial and more advantageous than you trying to find partners yourself, because if you try to find your own business partners or friends or relatives, many of the time it never works well, because you end up fighting with each other or having disagreements and who gets preference and all that stuff. So we avoid all those headaches. We just say, you buy your own portion of the share, we find the rest.
Okay.
Which means we have our dedicated sales team to go and sell shares on the aircraft.
And you decide how many planes you purchase based on the amount of interest you get from the market. So let's say you get
That's right.
I know, 5 new people interested, so we can buy a new plane, something like that.
Yeah, that's right. And that's something we do detailed
Mm-hmm.
market analysis and demand and everything like that. So we based on that, we put a fleet order with Honda Aircraft in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning.
Uh-huh.
We had ordered 5 airplanes. We took delivery of those 5 airplanes really quickly. And before that, actually three
Mm-hmm.
and then 5.
Yeah.
So that was our second fleet order. We completed.
What about the structure? Sorry, it's not clear. It's not yet clear to me as a member. How would you pay for this membership? So you would purchase
So you buy the share.
a
So
share in
you
the aircraft,
pay.
but then going on into the future, you have, I guess, some regular payments, right? So how does this work?
Yeah. So you pay a monthly fee and then you pay an hourly fee when you fly the airplane.
Okay.
And that is, that's something you normally do anyway when you fly an airplane, right? You just pay that to us and you take care of the rest.
I see. You made a point earlier about the HondaJet being the best jet in its category. Can you tell us more about that? What's so special with the HondaJet, and what are the good points it has?
So the HondaJet is a class-leading airplane. It's the fastest airplane in its category. So it flies at a maximum operating speed of 422 knots. So it's very fast. It's also very excellent climb capability. You can climb directly to 43,000 feet with max takeoff weight in under about 20 minutes. Goes way above where most commercial jets fly. So it's fast climbing. It's high speed. It's unique design with the engine over the wings. What that enables it is to really allow a very quiet cabin and a very spacious cabin. So the attach points on the fuselage are not a factor anymore. And what that helps in is separation of the vibration of the engines with the fuselage. And then you are allowed more space in the cabin. So you have a spacious lavatory, which is also very unique in this class of aircraft. A very usable toilet with full solid doors. So you can actually use it like a large cabin. When you sit in the airplane, I mean, I used to do demonstration flights in Gulfstreams, and to me, this did not feel cramped.
Yeah, I've been in an HondaJet actually, not flying it, but I've been in the inside a HondaJet in the static display at Rubai at the Moscow Executive Jet Show. I think I've got some pictures. I'll check them out and I'll post them so that I can give some more context. You operate it in a 5-passenger configuration normally, right? One pilot.
That's right.
Yeah, one
no,
or two
we
pilots?
Always operate with two.
Two. Mm-hmm.
We always operate with 2 pilots. The aircraft is certified for single pilot, but we operate always with 2 pilots to just add a level of safety. And 5 passengers, you can actually carry 6 passengers because the lavatory is also has a belted lav, which means it's certified for with a seat belt. So you can also, if you really need 6 passengers, you can also carry 6. But ideally, with 4, it's quite spacious. Anything more becomes a little bit cramped on longer flights, but if it's a short flight, then it's perfectly doable.
Mm-hmm. And you recently made headlines because you are the launch customer for the eFlyer 800, which is the new electric aircraft still not made, but projected by Aerospace. And what can you tell us about this?
We're very excited about this order, and it's not just a fluff order like most orders you've seen in the market with these big announcements and big numbers. But when you dig deeper, you see that there's not really any deposits or commitments or any of that. But we have made firm commitments to buy Aerospace, and we have put in non-refundable deposits. So we're very serious about this aircraft and about putting it into operation. And with this beautiful design, I mean, it's one of the most beautiful airplanes that I've seen out there. It's very sleek, very aerodynamically efficient, and George is a very experienced and very accomplished entrepreneur and aviation engineer. So we had faith in him in developing this and bringing this to market and getting this certified, because that is the most important thing, is obviously to get the airplane certified. And we hope that BAI can get the airplane certified both here under FAA as well as in Europe under EASA so that we can put it into operation. The numbers are spectacular. The airplane can do 500 nautical miles, and the airplane has a seating capacity of 2 pilots plus 6 passengers in the executive configuration. And it has an operating cost. I mean, the estimated operating cost is under $200 an hour. So
how does it compare with a conventional aircraft in this category?
well, if you look at a light jet or a very light jet airplane, I mean, that's about 1/5 the cost. A typical light jet is somewhere like $1,200 an hour.
Oh, wow.
This at $200 an hour is much, much. So it brings down the cost of private flying, enables more profitable operations, and most importantly, it's clean. There's no fuel burning. It's all battery operated. So we're very excited. It's the next frontier in aviation.
What about the members? What's been the reaction? Are they excited? Are they looking forward to flying this new technology anytime soon?
Yes. I mean, everybody is quite excited, but everybody also is realistic in terms of, when can this airplane enter the market? Certification is a long, tough, and hard road, and so the members are looking forward to it, but they are also, realistic in their expectations of when the airplane will enter service. So we have told them that, we will be ready when the manufacturer is ready. Yeah, brings it to market. But it's definitely something that everybody's looking forward to.
What about infrastructure on the ground? I guess with this plane you can fly to many locations that, I don't know if it opens up new runways that were not accessible.
Correct.
But you would need some charging infrastructure there, I guess.
Exactly. Yes. You're totally right. I mean, there is some preparation that is needed. Mm-hmm. And the way I view it is the eVTOLs are a little bit more challenging in terms of the infrastructure that is required. These vertiports and certification of these vertical takeoff and landing, which requires a lot of power. But in my estimation, the electric conventional aircraft that we are looking forward to operating are not as difficult, or the challenges are not that insurmountable compared to eVTOLs. So we use the same infrastructure as normal airplanes with the runways and the taxiways and everything. The only difference will be the charging stations. But I'm optimistic because if you look at a manufacturer like Tesla that has made electric vehicles so widely acceptable, and because of that, there have been charging stations for cars that have been installed everywhere, and the infrastructure is catching up. So I don't see that aviation will be much behind once we really start operating these aircraft. And a lot of times we may install our own electric chargers at these airports and FBOs, or we'll work with the OEMs to make these infrastructure changes happen, because it's inevitable. It's coming.
Are you going to operate them in principle in America first, and then are we going to see it in Europe anytime soon?
Well, I think I would like to operate in Europe earlier than America, just because of all the regulations and restrictions and demand that is there in Europe, with a lot of governments putting in all these goals, the climate change goals that they have, that can only be possible with electric aviation. So I would love to operate these airplanes simultaneously, but it depends on the certification plans by the manufacturer, and Aerospace has promised us that they will concurrently certify under FAA and EASA at the same time. And if that happens, then we will put the airplane into operation both in America and Europe at the same time.
Okay, great. Well, looking forward to that. Really looking forward to see it.
We can't wait.
To seeing electric planes as soon as possible.
So ask when you interview George, ask him, hey George, when can you get these airplanes quickly to JetClub and jet it? We're waiting eagerly.
Okay. Yeah, making a note. So sure, yeah. Very good. So so exciting times ahead, and well, definitely wishing you all the best with this project to move into electric aviation.
We're very excited, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you.
A pleasure. I'm going to be posting all the relevant links and pictures so that people can have all the references in the show notes, as always. And yeah, so thank you so much, and wishing you all the best with all these exciting projects.
Thank you so much, Mikhail. Look forward to meeting you someday soon in some air show, I hope.
Hopefully. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Before you go, and if you like this podcast, a quick reminder that it would be absolutely great if you could please give it a rating on Apple, Spotify, or whichever platform you're using, or recommend it to a friend or whomever might be interested. Thank you very much, and see you soon.